Päeval, mil Vene agressiooni algusest Ukrainas saab mööda täpselt 1000 päeva, tervitab Ukraina suursaadik Maksõm Kononenko meid oma residentsis. 1000 päeva sõda. Selles elamist ja sellele mõtlemist paneb proovile igaühe. Nii räägimegi alustuseks hoopis sellest, kuidas suursaadik mõtted sõjalt eemale viib. Ja tuleb välja, et selleks on kunst. Eriti Ukraina kunstnike kunst.
This painting is made by young Ukrainian painter Mykola Kuriluk. He is from Lviv. And when I saw this picture, I was subjugated by the creativity. And sometimes I feel like this astronaut sitting and trying to understand what the universe is saying to me. It is made by famous Ukrainian painter Matvey Weisberg. And the theme of Don Quixote and Sancho Panza. And sometimes as a diplomat, I feel myself like Don Quixote.
Do you feel the same in Estonia, or do Estonians perceive Ukrainians differently?
We are on the same page. I don't need to explain to Estonians what is happening, what is on the stake, not what to do, even how to do. And this is incredible, actually. Estonia have been supporting us from the very beginning of the conflict, and not by words, by deeds. And you will see that Ukrainians remember everything. If Estonia one day needs assistance from Ukraine, we will be more than happy to provide it, you can be sure.
Me oleme nüüdseks olnud 1000 päeva selles sõjas ja praegu vaadates tundub, et Ukraina on nurka surutud. Kuidas te seda olukorda hinnatate?
I would say that it is an exaggeration. Of course, we are in a difficult situation now. We are going through difficult times. We have been fighting for the last 10 years. It is already third year of full-fledged Russian aggression. And we are customized to see and to feel the death. As French philosopher Michel de Montaigne said, that you never know when death awaits for you. So you should be always ready for this. And Ukrainians are ready. And he said that if you are ready for the death, it will free you from any enslavery, any coercion. Ukrainians have been facing the death for the last 10 years. Now we feel free of any fears and of any deadlocks.
Suursaadiku jutt surma põlgusest võib meile mõjuda ehmatavalt. Ent oleme ka seda ise Ukraina käikudel tajunud. Vaadakem kas või Mõkolaivi linna, mis 2022. aasta augustis oli sisuliselt inimtühi rindelinn, mida Vene väed lootsid ikka veel okupeerida. Ja vaadakem seda linna uuesti 2024. aasta märtsis. Inimesed nautimas esimest kevadpäikest, ise teades, et oht ja tõenäolised raketid ei ole kuhugi kadunud. Aga nagu siinsel rahval on kombeks öelda, elu peab edasi minema.
Samal ajal saame ajakirjandusest lugeda, et Ukrainas ei edene ühest küljest mobilisatsioon ja teisest küljest mobiliseeritutel ei ole piisavalt relvi. Kas see on omamoodi nagu selline meeste ja relvastuse puuduse nõiaring?
It's very painful a process for any society. Because mobilized people, they literally have to be ready to pay freedom and independence of their country by their lives. It's not an easy choice. And of course, there is a lot of noise and unclear information about this process. And your enemy tries to use the momentum in order to destabilize your country. What Russians tried to do with our mobilization process. But they didn't succeed. So we put in place new legislation about mobilization, and mobilization is going on.
When you meet Ukrainian men in Tallinn who seem to be fit for service, do you ask them why aren't they going back?
I raise this issue with them always, and I explain that there are different opportunities to how to serve Ukrainian people, how to serve in Ukrainian army and to defend Ukrainian people. There is no legal mechanisms to force them go for service, but it's my main task to motivate them. A new initiative which is called Ukrainian Legion was launched in Poland, where Ukrainian men can apply, be trained according to NATO standards, and became a part of this Ukrainian Legion in order to defend our country.
Sõda Ukrainas on kestnud pool aastat kauem kui täistunni saatesari Kanal 2. Oleme püüdnud oma Ukraina käikudel jäädvustada sõja kulgu otse ja ausalt. Me oleme näinud vaprat vastupanu ja seda hävingut, mille jätab endast maha Vene sõjaväelasi kirsa, ehk nõnda nimetatud russki mir. Lagastatud majad, puruks pekstud asulad ja massihauad. Need on pildid ja lood, mida me ei tohiks unustada, kui loeme juba 1000. päeva kokkuvõtet mõnelt rindekroonikult.
Kogu maailm vaatab ja mõtleb ja püüab ära arvata, mida teeb Ameerika Ühendriikide järgmine administratsioon. Mida teie arvate, mis saama hakkab?
I think that before make any assessment about a new American administration, we should wait till the moment it is formed and begins to work. What I can say is that Ukraine have been enjoying and continues to enjoy bipartisan support in the United States, and it's very important. Of course, we are grateful to President Joseph Biden, to his administration, to both parties in Congress, and we will always remember about this help and support. But we remember also that very important decisions have been taken during first presidency of Donald Trump. For example, first javelins were supplied to Ukraine under Trump's administration. Mark 6 and island boats were transmitted to Ukraine under Trump's administration. Crimean Declaration has been negotiated, agreed and adopted during first Trump's administration. So I think that we should stay optimistic.
Again, reading from the press, there have been rumors about a peace plan from Washington that would require basically to freeze the contact line, to put in European peacekeeping troops, and Ukraine should set aside all aspirations to join NATO or EU for 20 years.
Actually, we do not discuss rumors. What I can say is that we welcome any peace plan, any additional contribution to peace process. But there are two important conditions. The first condition, it is we do not talk about Ukraine without Ukraine. And second condition, it's about the rule-based international order. It's about international law. It's about UN Charter. Because all principles are already enshrined in this very important document. And in our understanding, any discussion should be based on the principle of equal sovereignty of states, on the principle of territorial integrity and states' sovereignty and independence. So that's why we will be ready to be part of any discussions about peace on the basis of the United Nations Charter.
Ameerika võimalik rahuplaan kajab vastu ka Euroopa Liidu koridorides. Nii esitame sama küsimuse väga tõenäoliselt peagi Euroopa Liidu välisasjade esindajaks saavalt Kaja Kallaselt. Kas Ameerika Ühendriikide uus administratsioon hakkab tõepoolest sobitama rahu Venemaaga?
No ärme spekuleeri, et selge on see, et see sõda on kestnud tõesti pikalt ja ega kõik ju tahavad, et see sõda lõpeks, aga me tahame ka seda, et uusi sõdu ei tuleks ja Venemaa tegelikult saaks lõplikult vastu nina. Ja seal ongi see siis arusaamade erinevus, mille üle me peame debateerima. No omalt poolt me saame teha neid asju, mis me oleme praegu teinud, aga me peame neid tegema tegelikult suure keskendumise ja survega, et sanktsioonid, et panna see surve surve peale, et tegelikult ka sanktsioonidest möödahiilimist ei oleks. Samamoodi Ukraina abistamine selleks, et nad saaksid oma riiki kaitsta, Ukraina sõdurite treenimine, selle ka humanitaarabi andmine, kõike seda me saame teha ja näidata ka välja Venemaale, et me oleme igal juhul Ukraina taga, et see on ka Venemaa kalkulatsioonide osas, ma arvan, oluline. Nemad arvavad, et nad suudavad üle elada siis, et Euroopa laguneb laiali ja me ei tohi seda neile anda.
Kas teie arvates Euroopa teeb piisavalt praegu, et aidata Ukrainal seda sõja võita?
For sure not. And I will say why. Because the scale of what is happening in Ukraine is so huge that we need more and more help and assistance. What kind of help and assistance? First of all, defense. We really need this weapons, ammunition, equipment, which is produced not only by the United States, but also many countries in Europe, which is quite sophisticated, which is very good quality military hardware. We need all this defense production from Europe. We need help and financial help and assistance.
Hoolimata raskest olukorrast vaatavad ukrainlased lootusrikkalt tulevikku. Sel aastal esitles president Zelenskõi oma võiduplaani. See lubaks Ukrainal saada tagasi okupeeritud alad, pääseda NATOsse ja Euroopa Liitu ning muuhulgas rajada Iisraelile sarnane õhukaitse, vähemasti osale territooriumile Ukrainast. Täna, sõja 1000. päeval näib see nagu tuuleveskitega võitlemine. Ent Don Quixotelikult on harjunud võitlema nii suursaadik Maksim Kononenko, kui tundub, et terve ülejäänud Ukraina riik, teades, et alla anda ei tohi.